Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Go Live with Glow. Tonight, I have a very special guest. His name is Cirilo Mangeo III. So, we're going to talk about all things politics. We're going to talk about January 6th. We're definitely going to tap into yesterday's post inauguration. Tonight's a little change up from last week. Last week, we had fun. Week before, we, got a little bit of spiritual advice from Brooklyn, Phoenix, but tonight we're gonna change the tone. Yesterday was definitely an emotionally charged day for all women, Black people in general, women of color specifically. So I'm just waiting for my guests to show up so we could jump right into it. Thank you guys for joining me tonight at this special time of 7 o'clock. You guys know that my show is at 8 o'clock every single Thursday, but due to Versus being at 8 o'clock tonight, I have to bump my show up an hour so that I make sure that everybody come and see Go Live with Glow and then go see the Versus, because it's going to be a quadrillion people inside of the Versus. So I want to make sure that I get the audience and that I get the message out here. So my guest has joined. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome him here. Hi, how are you? I already
What's good?
introduced you, but I'm gonna introduce you to everybody again tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have Cirilo Mangeo III. So before we even jump into it, I want to let you know how I found you. So I'm like a super duper stalker when it comes to like finding things on Instagram. So you were going viral January 6th. You were going viral. Like
hmm
I kept seeing you. I kept saying, where is this guy? How do I get in touch with him? By the grace of God, someone dropped your Instagram inside the comment section. I said, oh my God, there is a God. I said, let me go ahead and reach out to this guy because you were like on the scene when it happened. But I don't want to jump into January 6th yet. I want to get to know who you are first because you're a third. That means this name is traveling from your grandfather to your father to you,
That's
correct?
right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So where does the name come from? Does it mean anything? Where does it stem from? Where are you from?
Yeah, it's funny, 'cause I wasn't really big into names. I didn't really know my name until like more recently. But my name does mean lordly and noble, depending on where like the origin of it. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm really lordly, but that's what my name means. And noble, I'm not sure exactly what that means for me, but I will say though is that like that's what my name means. So in Greek, uh, I believe it's more noble, and then in terms of lordly, and like because the Spaniards conquered the Philippines, and so my
Right.
grandfather, the first Cirillo, is from the Philippines, and then my father was in New Orleans, and so yeah, so I think that's where it comes from though. So yeah, mm,
And where are you based out of right now? Where do you live at now?
DC.
Okay, so are you from DC? Born and raised?
Nah, born and raised in New Orleans. Born and raised. Straight out of
Oh,
Seven
okay.
Ward, downtown New Orleans. So one time I found one New Orleans people out there though. Straight
Oh,
up.
okay. I thought you was
Yeah.
like originally from DC. I mean, I'm not a stranger to the DMV area. I did graduate from Morgan State
Where you from?
University in I'm from New York.
Morgan State. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
from
Morgan
Morgan.
State. Yeah.
Yeah, my DC was my stomping grounds back in the day when I was at school at Morgan. But I am a New Yorker, but I was born in Florida, so New York
What
is
part of New
home for
York?
me. I live in Manhattan. I'm from Harlem.
Oh,
I
you from
like to
Harlem. Yeah,
clarify that I'm from
my
Harlem.
homie. No, no, I get it. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, yeah. My homie from Brooklyn, man. One of my good homies, my nigga. Oh, he got a little spot out there, and so we've been tight since my freshman year, fam, for sure. So one time from New York,
Okay.
Brooklyn, stand up. Day.
And so you went to what, FAMU?
Yep,
Or what school did you go to? What college did you go to?
yep.
So what'd you major in at
FAMU.
there?
Yeah, health science, pre-physical therapy. So yeah, so
Mm,
HS yo, HSPPTA, yo. So like the whole pre-physical therapy program was lit because who I'm cool with, that's my man's.
mm-hmm.
Um, but it was so many good people. Even right now, while I'm in DC, a lot of us the whole FAMU network in DC is nuts. The
Mm-hmm.
DMV FAMU chapter, DC FAMU chapter is crazy. The Rattlers out there, everybody show love. So I mean, FAMU is like, I'm always feel bad for you because like not in like a crazy way, but FAMU is like it's family. Like it's different. It's different. You know what I mean? It's like it's not your average HBCU for sure.
You are the second person that I've had on this show that went to FAMU. I'm not sure if you are familiar with an author. His name is Authoratan Variola. He's an author. He writes these amazing books. I'll even send you the information.
Oh
He also
yeah.
went to he went to FAMU as well. But he never said what you just said, that you felt sorry for me.
No,
He's never
no.
ever said that. He's never said that at all. Like,
Yo, because I just feel like, deep down, man, like FAMU has, like, I guess because I wasn't supposed to go to FAMU. And so by me ending up at FAMU and it really being one of the best things that ever happened to me. And so if you're anybody out there watching who's going to watch, whoever it is, like if FAMU on your radar, Morgan State may be on your radar, like Howard, Hampton, everything, right? But I promise you, it's going to do, you're going to be like, God damn, I'm glad I did.
I'm not gonna hold you. I did apply to FAMU before I went to Morgan, just because my family is from Florida, so I figured I would be closer to my family in
You see,
Jacksonville because
you see what
Tallahassee
I
is
mean?
right there. But I went to Morgan instead. You know, HBCUs, we're gonna always have this inner HBCU beef
No, no,
because
it's
we
all
always
love.
thought
No,
our school is the
it's all
best.
love.
Our
It's all
school
love.
is the best. Morgan is the best.
Absolutely, for sure.
Morgan is the best. So January 6th, what made you go out there with all this craziness that was happening, all this chaos that was happening on January 6th? What made you want to go there at that moment?
No, January 6th was a really like a byproduct of my everyday life. You know what I mean? Like I think there are a lot of folks like they like, yo, like it's not like I wasn't going there because of anything else because if you in my backyard, like I keep telling folks, the Capitol is down the street from my crib.
Mm-hmm.
So if you in my backyard, that's like somebody's backyard right now, and you going outside to see what's going on. That's all that happened. But the thing is, once I got there, the energy was like, oh, so y'all really thinking that this your spot. It's not your
Mm.
spot.
Okay, I
It's
see what
not
you
your
mean.
spot. This the people's spot. This black folks spot too. And so for me, I had to make a stand the way that and like look, with my lady, she sat next to me right now. And then she was just like, she took the video and for this is something we do like when I say we do this all the time, we do this all the time because DC is the mecca of law and policy. People want to turn up whether you're on the left or you're on the right. And so I went out there not because I knew exactly what was going on. I went out there because you're in my backyard. And if you're in my
Mm.
backyard, then I gotta pull up on you. That is it.
Mm. So what did it look like while you was out there?
So I would say this though. It was kind of surprising to see folks in wheelchairs. Cause I'm like, damn, like y'all hate run deep. Like y'all hate kind of like on another level of hate. And and then when I seen like the some of the white men out, it was something in their eyes that was different. You know what I mean? It was like everybody get angry at somebody. You know what I mean? Like we all may be displeased with someone and we like, yo, we amped up. But like it was like, yo, like this certain level of hate, this certain level of like patriotism that they subscribe to, it was different. And you could tell, like it was crazy. I'd never seen a white boy in my life. In my life. I'm from the hood, Seven Ward, New Orleans, right? Where people
Mm-hmm.
like, get their belt buckle ready. You know what I mean? But that's the first time seeing a white boy strap his belt up, turn up, like real evil, like that's like Tiff say, real evil. It was a different kind of evil that I've ever seen in my life because like I grew up in New Orleans, one of the blackest cities on the planet, outside of
Right.
early DC or whatever, and so it was different for me. But to see that many white people congregated together in hate, That was different. That was different.
Mm. I'll be honest with you. I stopped watching the news back in March. I haven't been watching the news because it's very triggering. And I don't know how to keep my household together and keep my own emotions together and still process what's happening in the world. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I didn't even know what was going on in the Capitol. I didn't even know until I picked up my phone and looked on Instagram and just saw that the world is being turned upside down. I mean, it's a very, very scary time that we are living in right now. So post inauguration, how do you
So
feel
wait,
now
so where are you? Where are you based? Where are you based?
in Harlem? I'm in Harlem right now.
You're in Harlem. Are you in
Right.
NYC? Okay.
hmm
Yeah. Nah. But how do you say? How do I feel right now after?
Yeah, after the inauguration, because I was like nervous the whole time. Like while it was going on, like I'm nervous because if that many people were that hateful during like to storm the Capitol, what would they do at the inauguration? Like I was just afraid. You know what I mean? Like what
I
are these
was.
people gonna do?
Yeah. So I ain't gonna lie to you. I was definitely like a little nervous, like leading into it. But I kept thinking like I was out there and I was in y'all spot and I threw up the fist
Right.
and y'all ain't want no smoke. So that means there are 25,000 National Guard come out here right now. You don't want no smoke. If you wanted
Right.
that kind of smoke, then you would have brought your ass back on out here. So for me, it was like, let's go ahead, let the day be the day, which was a transition of power that always
hmm
happens. Every presidency, every administration. And like it was, don't get me wrong though, I think that if it wasn't a National Guard out here, it would have probably been a little bit different. But
Right.
today, when you look on TV and you see DC, it was quiet. It was quiet. It was chill. So I wasn't really worried about what today was going to look like. Once I realized that when I went out there, y'all didn't want no smoke then. Because if you really wanted to smoke, you'd have brought it. But you was hoping that by way of being the squeaky wheel on the on the car or whatever, right?
hmm
That all of a sudden people are gonna care about your cries. But you realize really quickly though that politics don't work in the way in which you think it works. Your people aren't in power. Your people don't care about you. The Trumps, the Mitch McConnells, right? The Lindsey Grahams, all the
Right.
folks you thought cared about you, passing these laws, whatever they doing in the Senate, in the House, in the White House. They don't care. So this is what I hope folks gather from this is that politics in the way in which you see it, right,
hmm
ain't it. And when the folks on the right start realizing that maybe we got it wrong and that the caste system that was set up from the
hmm
inception of this country would to keep you thinking that you were better than the folks that was rich, just to suppress folks that don't look like you, don't have the same hue as you lost. And so,
You
like, that's really what this is about. That's what it's about. Like,
you made a statement in the video that there was no way that you made a statement about men in suit coming to the Capitol, how they couldn't get in. But like, how is this even possible that this is happening right now? And that this was like an
yeah,
example of like white privilege.
yeah.
So can you explain that? Because I'm not sure like what exactly you were talking about when you were referring to like men in suits. Was it a point like what were you exactly talking about? Like when was that what was that example that you had gave us? Like black men in suits that
Yo,
came to these stairs and they wasn't trying to let us in, but these people have been able to storm the Capitol and get inside of this building.
Simone, we was out there, my man's got a whole haberdashery line, right? Like online
Mm.
where you want to get your suits, right?
I
We
know
went
how I'm
out there.
haberdashery.
Yeah. So we went out there. It was like six of us. I mean, you could look at my timeline, you could look at my IG like feed or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. Um, you can look at all that and like when you see it, you're gonna see it as me and 5, 6 other brothers out there in the freezing cold in December. We went up to the steps. It was literally like literally black men in suits going up to the steps, chilling. U.S. Capitol Police come out and say, y'all cannot be on these steps. So when everybody, all the surrectionists storm the Capitol steps, we on the steps. So when you saw the photo that you saw, which is on the Senate side of the swamp of the Capitol building, we could only be there. And we couldn't even really be on the steps. We had to be like in a certain section because I don't know if you couldn't see it, but there were guards placed on the top of like the I guess the post that were watching us and trying to figure out what we were doing. And so what I'm saying is that, like, I used to work on the Hill, and I know folks that work on the Hill right now, and people that know that place, they know that everything that went down on that day was not protocol.
Okay.
It wasn't. And so that's why people go, hey, yo, why everybody saying what they saying about like the protocol? Because people that worked on that on the Capitol Hill, on whether they be on the House side or Senate side, it's always been really like very, you know what I mean? Like where your ID, where this, where that. These are probably see on a day-to-day basis. And so you already know that you probably have heard intelligence knowing that people are going to come to the Capitol on that day. And so you have no plan in place on the exterior or internal process on what that's going to look like. That's an inside job. That's an inside job.
So now that we have Biden in office, what do you think is going to happen his 4 terms while he's here? Like, what are your predictions?
I think that like every presidency tries to, in the first 100 days, do what they believe, what they said they were going to do. I think after that is game on. What I mean by that is if you have a advocacy group, you got an organization in your hometown, city council, state level, you're trying to fund things up through the system, the squeaky wheel will get the oil.
Okay.
So you got to actually raise your voice. You got to call your senators. You got to call your reps. You got to let them know what you care about. Because voting, inauguration, is just the step in the door. But when you get in the door, you got to say some hellos. How you doing? I'm going to taste your food. Maybe I might sit down and have a conversation with you on your couch. I might watch a little TV show with you. But at the end of the day, though, I got to get to know you, and you got to get to know me. And so you got to understand my concerns. And if we don't do that, if we don't participate in what it looks like to actually be an American citizen, then guess what? We going to go back and go, damn, they didn't do nothing for us. They didn't make it happen, right? There's 300 some odd million voters right now in America that want something done, Republican or Democrat. And so we got to figure out what that looks like and go, I'm going to have my voice be heard. But we got to understand what the levels of power look like on a day-to-day and how we pull on those levels of power to then have our voices be heard.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I was just saying, like, I just remember when Obama was in office, there were things that he was trying to pass, and he just couldn't get anything passed. The only thing that he was able to do was get the health care, kill bin Laden, and that was it. And no. Let me not say that. Let me not even just say that was it. And legalize same-sex marriages. He did 3 things. Take bin Laden out, legalize same-sex marriages, and healthcare. Like that was like his 3 things that he was able to pass. But there were also other bills that he was trying to pass that never got past the Senate or never made it out the House. Like it was just like so much like backlash. It was like his hands was tied behind his back. Do you feel like that might be the same thing? Because Biden is coming into office during a global pandemic. Like we're doing this interview via Instagram because I can't even see you.
No, that's real. But so let's go back to Obama, right? And Obama could have been a many things for many people, for a lot of us, right? You know what I mean? So I get it. But understand that Barack Obama is going to say, I'm going to put this in your pocket. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to say black. But I'm going to structurally try to understand how can I safeguard black people, brown people from being messed over by the system. So what he did, he attacked the courts. Back when Obama was in office, there's a thing called judicial emergency. There was a
Right.
judicial emergency on our courts on a federal level because the Senate, a GOP controlled Senate or Republican controlled Senate, blockaded all of the Obama administration's nominees to be on the federal court. Why? Because the folks that Obama could get in when the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate, because there was a point in time when Barack Obama and the administration didn't control the House and the Senate.
Right.
There was a point.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a 2-year span they did. And a lot of people have a lot of gripes about that and what he was able to get done. But I think that so you understand, so folks watching this on why not Barack Obama didn't even get the Supreme Court justice to be appointed to the Supreme Court is because Merrick Garland at the time, who was nominated by Barack Obama, they proclaimed a lame duck. Nothing should happen. And so even in that happened, Republicans appointed a justice in the lame duck year. That's
Right.
what happened. And so now, so this is it's a lot of stuff going on. So now, as we move into this cycle, to answer your other question, which was how do we move through the Biden election into a Senate that's very just 50-50, right? What does that look like? The filibuster is going to be critical because the filibuster actually allows the Republicans to hold court. You'll have somebody in the corner just talking and talking and talking and talking till they can't talk no more. That's what the Republicans plan on doing. They plan on filibustering and holding court in the Senate so that Democrats can't do anything. So that means that when Republicans on a C3, C4 level, this is getting deep, on a C3,
Right.
C4 advocacy level on a state level, what they're going to do is message to everybody on the ground, Democrats didn't get anything done. Because what they know is that most people won't watch the national news or understand what's happening on a federal level on why things aren't getting done. So they blame the people in office for it, when in reality, it could be the fact that the people that were in office, the people that got unseated, or the people that are in office are blockading everything that's progressive that could happen that could benefit your life. And so, for example, the Senate is 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Warnock and Ossoff just got, by way of Kamala Harris, just got sworn to office.
Right.
Because the Senate is 50-50, that means that the Senate typically leans conservative, which means that I may not necessarily want to be as progressive, even though in my heart I am, because I got the half of the state or a whole state to care for. Now, on the House side, I can, because I know that in my 750,000 my congressional district, I know who I speak for. I know who's voting for me, because they're gonna keep on voting for me. The Senate is more complicated, and so because of that, the Senate usually leans more conservative. So as a blue Oval Office, right, and a blue House and Senate, but the House is going to actually be still leaning to some degree conservative. So that's why when you see Senate McConnell, Mitch McConnell, and Chuck Schumer talking about a power deal,
right,
what they're trying to do is understand the politics of what it means to have a 50-50 Senate with Kamala Harris being the tiebreak. So how can I politically still keep while still making strides and making it seem like I'm doing my job? And I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but
you are.
But I feel like
you gotta really.
you know what I'm saying?
I think people grasp what you're trying to say. They grasp it, and I get what you're trying to explain right now. And so again, it goes back to your hands being tied behind your back, because you just basically said, "How do I get to do my job and still make strides?" So basically, again, your hands is tied behind your back. So what do? You take what you can, and then the rest of the things that I guess people are in dire need of,
they don't necessarily get. Like, for example, they
Yeah.
were fight the $2,000 stimulus check, right? Homeboy of mine making jokes, sends $2,000 to Biden's Cash App as a joke. You understand what I'm saying? But that's a real situation here. They gave us $1,200 in the beginning of COVID out of nowhere. I've never knew that this could even be possible. It makes you wonder, like, what's really going on in the government that you guys could give $1,200 to each family, or even more than that. And like, what is really going on here? You just dropped $1,200 in my bank account, like, out of nowhere, and I'm not supposed to be nervous about this. Okay, fine. So when do we pay back the $1,200? I feel like we're gonna pay it back on the front end or the back end. But right now we got what we need because this is what we need. Then you
Yeah.
reduce the $1,200 to $600. So now we're only getting $600, and now they're fighting to give us back the extra $1,400. But they was just like, listen, we can't be giving them all that money like that. We need to save some. Like, those are the things that make me tune in. Like, this is when I start tuning back in. I'm like, y'all messing with my money. I know it was never my money to begin with, but I feel like it is. So let me go ahead and tune in and see what's going on with that.
No, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this is a
no, yeah.
situation. Like, you guys are messing. Like, there's no jobs. We have no jobs. Everybody's got laid off. You can't even go to your job physically because you don't want to catch the coronavirus and die. Literally die, or pass it to somebody else that can die. What are we supposed to do right now? So we're in hope that Biden will go ahead and take away the coronavirus and everything. Like, we just hope to God that he could just sweep it all up in one thing. But it's so many things that he has to attack.
Yeah, so it is a lot. Like, I think that, like, people think, my boy Dez is John from New Orleans. What's up, boy? I see you. But I think that, like, you know, on the what's going to happen with the resources and the stimulus and how they get there, that's a budget thing, right? And so this is really kind of historical. As in fact, me and my boys had a conversation about this today on how we eradicate student loan debt. And there was a lot of, like, proposals being brought up, how we do it. But here's the baseline. If America wants to extinguish all student loans, they could do it right now. They could do it. Because guess what? They just gave the entire
Yeah, they could.
country, they could, like, when people say, well, where the money came from. And see, they don't like people like me. Because people like me makes it their job harder to go, damn, man, well, we gave them this, so that means that we got to figure out how we going to give them that. Yeah, you're going to cut whatever you're going to cut the check for. Just like we cut the check for healthcare, when you cut the check for the wall, when you slash taxes and didn't allow the AT&Ts and Sprints and all the banks pay what they should pay in terms of fair share, and they say, oh no, hold on. And they got folks right now that still believe that Trump cared about middle class, low income, cash poor folk on to pay their taxes. Do you think that they care about tax cuts on poor folk? No.
It's funny
They
that you say
care,
that.
because no, this is real. This is real. And so you gotta think about it, right? Going back full circle on thing, is that they could cut a check for everyone to cut. So the American people got to say that we are going to make sure we're going to get what's due to us. Because if banks fail right now, banks are going to get a bailout. Why? We've seen it in even the Obama administration. They got bailed out. Name a
Right.
small business owner right now, right now. If you started on just bad terms, small business owner, who bailing you out? Who bailing you out? Anybody watching this right now? Who is bailing you out? Nobody. You're gonna be,
To
you know
be
what you're gonna say?
honest, I'm about to say me. I'm at the block. I'm at to ask my family members to help me because my business is falling apart. Like, you got to
You
do what
don't.
you got to do.
You're not a Wells Fargo or Chase or
No,
BB&T or SunTrust or any of that. You're not
right.
none of that, right? And so that's what I'm saying. So the fact that we could go here and have this conversation about who's gonna bail us out, it's rhetorical. If you think that the government's gonna bail you out, not in the business of that until you make them be in the business of that.
And how do we do
In
that?
other words, make them be in the business of the people. And how you do that is more people have to voice their opinion. Because we think, here's the thing. I didn't come into politics like I wasn't if like, you know, like how most people get into it. Maybe you came on a campaign and you did your thing or whatever it is, and you worked your way up through the ladder, and you, or maybe you, like, I don't know, right? But there's always an insertion point on how you get into politics. And whatever it is, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. You don't have to know it all. But what you know is in your heart, something's not right. And that's enough.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, you don't have to know how politics work. It doesn't matter. What you know is your living conditions are this. And you see, look on the other side of town and they're that. And that's a go, I'm getting involved. That's really enough.
Right.
Like, you know, your life ain't always been what it should have been. And then, so you should then get involved. Period.
That's a very like that's an amazing segue into having people like say, yeah, I would want to do that. But how do you convince these conspiracy theorist people who don't believe in anything that you should actually be a part of the things that you challenge? Like a part of something. Like when they say if you don't want to vote for the president, at least vote for your local people, your governor, your mayor, at least vote for those. Like you have to do your part. You know what I mean? A lot of people aren't paying attention, like with the vaccine. The vaccine is out now. Everybody's scared.
Right.
For good reasons. For very good reasons. We're all afraid. But I haven't heard anybody die from the vaccine yet, but I have had a lot of friends die from COVID. So what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like grief. Like, you know, like it's like we're grieving and functioning all at the same time. And you can't even catch your breath because right before the inauguration, they stormed the Capitol out of nowhere. And I'm just like, let me just say how I want to say, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what the fuck is next? Like, no way in hell did I fucking believe that I would be still in my house a whole fucking year later.
Yeah, like, I mean,
My one-year-old
like
child
this
is growing up in the house. What the fuck?
and that shit is crazy. That shit is traumatizing. We don't even understand how even for a 1-year-old not being able to socialize with the children, on how that is traumatizing our kids, right? Our loved ones, traumatizing ourselves. And so, like, I think that, like, what we all got to do is understand that, yo, we have a voice and our voice matters, but
Right.
it only matters when you begin to speak up, listen, build. The worst thing we could do, especially for us, is to go, my voice doesn't matter. Because if your voice didn't matter, I know we heard this before, they would put forth so much effort to make sure you couldn't vote if your voice didn't matter. If what you cared about didn't matter, they wouldn't try these suppressive tactics through policy, through, like, hope the guy you don't call about the fact that your precinct closing earlier than usual, hope to find the fact that your precinct closed at all, right? They hoping that. But the more and more you say, I'm about to grab hold of my life, I'm about to grab hold of my community, I'm about to wrap my arms around my people, well, then guess what? And all of a sudden, things start to change. Because where our focus goes, so goes our growth. So we gotta kind of like revamp on what we thinking about and how we moving, because we believe that politics don't work for us. It don't work for us because we're not doing politics.
Right.
Because we're not thinking about the game. These folks playing checkers or chess, and we playing checkers. And they going, well, I hope y'all.
4.
Yeah,
We're playing Connect 4.
Yeah, we're not even moving pieces on the board. We in
We're
a
just
whole
trying to
different,
get to the top.
And I think that, like, that's like deep down though, like that's what it's about. And I know it's like, to me though, sometimes it seems very simple, but one thing I realized is that when I was growing up, and my mom and my dad and folks that I knew, like, it was so much shit in front of us that we had to deal with, that politics didn't seem like something that we can really attend to.
Right.
But I'm saying that, like, if you got time, and you can and while your brother or sister are sitting on the couch with you raising whoever they're trying to raise, and maybe you got time but they don't have time, so then you devote time to their time, right? And then we develop an ecosystem of people that can begin to like affect the system in a way where we could come together collectively, then we can have some real change. Georgia was an example of what happens when folks believe in the system, and then it happens, and then boom, what it is, right?
But they had to light a fire up their ass. Joe was like, if I'll give y'all that 2 G's if y'all all get down there and vote. And everybody was like, listen, I'm gonna need that too. So let me go ahead and get down and see what I have to do to get that. That's you gotta have some type of motivation. I feel like we as a community have to be motivated all the time in order to get something done, because we are emotionally drained and traumatized by the day-to-day bullshit or the day-to-day BS that you have to go to. You know what I mean? I'm talking pre-COVID. You add COVID to it, it's like a whole nother layer to everything. I mean, what are you doing for yourself to stay emotionally sane in these times? What are you doing?
Playing golf. Playing golf, for real.
I did not think you were gonna say that.
Yeah, no. I picked up golf in July, and I didn't think, like, my boy hit me up one day and some of my homies was like, yo, we playing golf. But golf has been a way to kind of like do something different. Like get out the crib, you know what I mean? And but besides that though, like my relationship. And I know folks out there don't have the strongest relationship, or maybe they do. But my lady has been my rock, and we've been able to kind of use this time to get closer. And so between golf and my lady, that's how I get through it. For real.
So I want to also talk about everything else that you have going on. So Black No Chaser. Black No Chaser.
Black with No Chaser, yeah.
Black with No Chaser. What's the IG name for it? It's Black with No Chaser.
Black
Like,
with
it's
No
like
Chaser.
BLK.
Yeah.
It's WTH, right? Chaser. So what is that?
BLACK. Black with No Chaser, we're a lifestyle brand. And we came up telling stories. I think part of the problem was is that we realized that it was a lot of stories being told about us, whether we misrepresented or not represented or disinformation about our people, and we felt like, yo, we better start this. And so I was already telling stories. My homie was a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. And so we just started to like do our thing. He hit me up one day. He was like, yo, bro, I want to like keep on writing, because I was writing anyway. I was like, yeah, for sure. Saying long and the short is, we started doing these, what I would call now is like journalism mixtapes, which was like basically your story trash. So we gonna mixtape it on top of your shit, and then make it better and actually represent us how we should have been represented to begin with. And so Black with No Chaser kind of formed because of that. We started doing that, and then one year we was like 5,000, 6,000, maybe 10,000 people. And then the next year was like 100,000. And then the next year was like 200-some thousand. And we was like, oh, we got a viable thing. And so we started thinking about, well, damn, what all the ways in which Blackness could be safe on our platform, which means that because Blackness is not monolithic. And so we know that whether you're a writer or you're a creative or you doing what you're doing right now, whatever, you have a place on our platform. And we want to build out that space for our folks in a real way. And we've been doing that at the same time, though. We always say, yo, we just as good in the streets as we are in the tweets. And so what we mean by that is, we may be a media company, but we still in the streets doing our thing every single day. Whether it be from Mississippi to Louisiana, all up to DC, we're still doing our thing. And that's very important to us. As a matter of fact, that's the core of who we are and what we do, period.
And so do you have another company that you're working for? It's an NBT?
Yeah, the next big thing, yo. The next big thing, man. So my good brother George Olakin, he started this organization over 7 years ago, and he's been struggling with the idea of trying to figure out who to pass it on to, and so I was like, look, man, I feel like he's been trying to get me to do it, and then finally this year, over the past year, and because COVID kind of made some things a little bit different on how they move, generally speaking, NBT was a more city to city type of engagement, not really as big as digital as we need now. And so because the way it hit, and so we had to kind of restructure some things. So I think in 2021, towards maybe August, September, there should be some more things rolling out about NBT though. But NBT is a more of a aspirational, motivational kind of type of brand where, hey, look, if you got an idea, how do we get your idea ready to go from here to being the next big thing? Really, what the premise of it is.
Okay, that's cool. And so, do you have any other things that we should be looking for in the future? Any other things that you're working on that we should kind of keep an eye out for?
Nah, man, I'll be uh outside of NBT and the Black Whistle Chaser and what I do in here in DC. It's funny like being in this moment and like you know I would say that probably before that viral video, I wouldn't probably be speaking to you, and you'd be still doing your thing, and I'll still be doing my thing. But for me, it's
I
like
would have found you.
my day to day doesn't. You would have my day to day
I
doesn't
got
change,
you.
which is like still fighting for us. Like it's a very thankless job. There's a lot of organizers out there that could be right here sitting in front of you and saying the exact same thing I'm saying, and so it's not really about me, to be honest. It's about us and about moving. I try to be a vessel and be a messenger for us in any way I can possible. And so when you say what's next for me is I'm gonna still keep what I've been doing before. And so if you've been following me beforehand, great. If you follow me now, that's what's up. I appreciate you. And it's all love. And if you ever need anything and I can help you, I ain't nothing but a DM, a call, email, a text away.
So one thing I want all my guests to do, or well, I ask all my guests to do, is leave a gem before you go. So is there anything you want to leave with us before we head out? Any gems you could drop on us?
The gem is this, and this has been really like hitting on me, is tap into your story, to your people. I mean, tap into who you are and realize your role and accept that role. I think that a lot of times we want to be something that we not, or because society has told us that this one thing is going to make you this, and we chasing bread and we chasing money. Chase your role, chase what you meant to be on this planet Earth, and like live, and that's cool, that's okay. I think look, I just this year in December I was riding in the car with my lady, and I told her, and by the time December 1 hit, I knew what I wanted to be. I accepted my role. And that's not that's what it's saying. It's empowering, because once you know that, then you know that every space you in, you know what role that you're supposed to be holding. You know that space. That's your space. And you could own that. It's not a credential thing. It's more about like, like I'm owning my space. This is me. And I think that anybody watching this is, man, own your shit. Own your space and accept that and live in that. And a lot of us have probably been feeling that same energy for a long time, but we've been running from it because we think we're supposed to be something else, because our society, our parents, our friends, our whatever have been telling us we should be that. When in reality, you've already felt what the role is meant for you. So walk into that role. Do that.
Cirilo, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we see you as our next president a couple of years from now. I would not be surprised. Maybe not right now. I know you may not want to do it right now, but I really feel like by the time my daughter's about around 20 something years old, I could see you running. It's only right that we have people that like us to keep running for those bigger roles in the politics. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I truly appreciate you. Okay. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you for everybody that came tonight. Good night. Good night. Thank you guys. This was so great and empowering. Got to go ahead and decompress.
All right, Joe.